What is multi-tenancy? Wikipedia says that it is a group of users who has common access to an instance of an application. Now let's have a look at a few examples. For example, we've got Trello. I have created my user account, and inside my user account I have created a workspace. And inside this workspace I've got different information that is scoped to this specific workspace that isn't present in any other of my multiple workspaces. For example, I've got these columns and cards inside these columns that are not shared with any other workspace. So everything inside this workspace is inside this kind of tenant. And I have my membership in this tenant. And you see I'm the admin of this board. So you see this member is an admin of the board. So I'm a member in this tenant. And I can invite other users to become members of this tenant. So I would need to add somebody's email address, add the role that I would want to give this user, and I would send a user invitation to a person to join this workspace. And again, I can have different access rights in different workspaces. Another good example would be Slack. Here are multiple workspaces and there are multiple members in each of these workspaces. And you can be either an admin, you can be just a user inside one of these workspaces, but like all the channels, all the messages and so on, everything is scoped and contained inside this workspace. So no information is being leaked from one workspace to another. And there is, for example, Basecamp that also has different organizations. You can create one or multiple teams and invite members to your teams, and everything inside all projects, everything is scoped to a team. And if you have a look at the URL inside Basecamp, you see the ID of the tenant. So this is like your organization ID that you're looking at the moment, and everything else is scoped under this ID of the organization that you're looking at. Similar with the Trello. Here is, I guess, the ID of the organization and I guess the name of the organization. So if I would go to another tenant, then the ID here would change. Now, how do we build this kind of multi-tenancy in Ruby on Rails? So here is the basic kind of database architecture where we have a user. Here again in Trello or in Slack, I have the same user instance, the same user with one email. And there are multiple workspaces or tenants. And I can be a member of one or many workspaces or tenants. And a member belongs to a user, a tenant, and has roles. So you see, I can have different roles in different organizations. And then there is other types of data that are scoped under the tenant. So here, for example, we have columns and cards and possibly comments. All of them have a tenant ID. And that way we can see all the tasks or projects or whatever that belong to the specific tenant. So everything that should be scoped to a tenant should have the tenant ID. And this is called row-based multi-tenancy. Other types are database multi-tenancy or schema-based multi-tenancy. The Gem apartment, as far as I remember, it offers schema or database multi-tenancy, but it is not a most sustainable approach. And there are a lot of gems that offer you row-based multi-tenancy, like access tenant and active record multi-tenant. Now, Bullettrain is a software as a service boilerplate for Ruby on Rails, offers teams and invitations as one of their core features, and they use a similar type of multi-tenancy as in Basecamp. So again, everything has a tenant ID, and they use routes to set the current tenant. And there is JumpStartPro, another SaaS multi-tenancy boilerplate for Ruby on Rails that has multi-tenancy and accounts as one of their core features that they expect you to pay a premium price for. So yeah, let's try to build this kind of functionality. Now here we are not going to use any gems, so we are not going to use any of these gems. By the way, talking about the gems, so apartment, I don't like it. Access tenant is very good. Active record multi-tenant is very good. Milia used to be good 5 years ago, but now it is outdated. And this game's gems I haven't tried. And JumpStartPro actually acts as tenant. Okay, so let's try to build a multi-tenant architecture where we have different tenants or workspaces. A user creates a workspace, he becomes admin by default, and user can invite others to become a member of this workspace. And a user who isn't part of this workspace can't see anything inside this workspace. So let's start by a new Ruby on Rails application. I have actually just created a new Rails app, and let's start the Rails server and have a look. Okay, so yeah, there is nothing. Let me create a few pages. So let's create a landing page that will be accessible by not logged in users, and dashboard that can be accessed by logged in users. So let's say Rails generate controller, static pages, landing page, and dashboard. Okay, let's open our code, and let's go to our roots and say root will be to static pages landing page, and we will get dashboard to static pages dashboard. Let's see if it works. Rails server. Missing controller key. Okay, maybe I missed something here. Get okay, yeah, controller key. Rails server. And here we are on the landing page. We can go to /dashboard and we can see it. Okay, let's add the links. So application.html.erb. I will add the link to home, and it will be a root path. Oh my god, too much help from the IDE. And link to dashboard, and it will be dashboard path. And let's see, we have two links. Okay, let's save our changes. So I will say git status, git add all, git commit, static pages controller. Okay, now let's add devise. So let's say Rails, oh no, actually bundle add devise. Rails generate devise install. We will need to add these lines to our application RB for flash messages, and we will need to add this to be able to send emails in our development environment. And yeah, let's now say Rails generate devise user to create our user model and migrations. Rails db migrate, and let's require a user to be able to let's require a user to be signed in to be able to use our app. So before action authenticate user, and we're going to skip this before action for our landing page. So I will say skip before action authenticate user only landing page. Let's see if it works. I will start the server, and let's see. So to access the dashboard, I need to be logged in, but for homepage, I don't need to be logged in. Let's try creating an account. Okay, let's now add the links to like sign in, sign out. Now I'm not going to write them down manually. I'll just copy them from somewhere I remember. So going back to application HTML, and in our navigation part, I will add, so if the user is signed in, we can see his email and link to log out and link to the dashboard. And if the user is not signed in, yeah, in all cases, we will see the link to the home page, but we will see also login and register. Let's go back and refresh. Okay, home, dashboard, my email, and log out. And if I'm not logged in, home, login, and register. Okay, looks good. Let's save our changes. Git status, git add all, git commit main, install devise. Okay, looks good. Now let's go back, and here we have, so we've got our users that were provided by devise, and let's create our tenants. So let's say Rails generate scaffold tenant, and tenant will have a name. Okay, let's start the server and have a look at our tenants. Yeah, we should actually run the migration, Rails db migrate. And let's go to tenant.rb and say validates name, presence, true. And let's add the link to tenants inside our application for logged in users. So let's make it tenants path. Surely you can name it not tenants, but like workspaces or something like that in your application. So let's see, I will log in and I have the tenants path. Okay. Maybe I made a typo. Validates, yeah, I've got an S. Okay, let's create a tenant. And I've created a tenant. looks good, but at the moment the user and tenant are not related at all. So we need to know that a user is a member of the tenant. And for this, we're going to add this member association. So this is like the team access. A user will have many tenants through member, and tenant will have many users through member. So let us save our changes and continue. Git status, here we have just added the scaffold of tenants. Git add all, git commit main scaffold tenants. And let's add our member model. So let's say Rails generate resource. And we will have member, we will have user references and tenant references. And importantly, we'll also have a roles table. So we're going to know that this user is an admin in this organization, but he's not an admin in the other organization. So we will say roles JSON B. Now let's go to our migration and have a look at it. db migrate here, and we'll say null false, and default will be an empty hash. Okay, Rails db migrate, and let's add the missing associations now. So going to our model, we see member belongs to user and tenant, and user will, let's say, has many members and has many tenants through members. And we'll do something very similar for our tenants. Tenant has many members and has many users through members. Okay, so yeah, let's save our changes. Git status, and here we've created the members controller. We've added roots, but no views for the members for the moment. So I've generated not a scaffold, but a resource. Let's have a look at the members controller. Yeah, it is just an empty blank controller, and in the roots we have just resources members. Okay, so let's say git add all, git commit message generate members resource. And now we need to make it so that when a user creates a tenant, he will become a member of this tenant, and the user should be able to see only tenants that he is a member of. So let's go to our tenants controller, and here we will say we will show not all the tenants but current user.tenants. Okay, and you see I'm not a member of any tenant. And to make the current user a member of the tenant that he has just created, we will go here. So if the tenant is saved, we will create member at tenant.members.create, and we will say user will be current user. And we can also assign a role like roles admin true. Okay, let's see if it works. I will create a tenant with member, and we have created a tenant. And going back to tenants, you see I can see this tenant, so I'm most likely a member of this tenant. Let's go to the console and check member.count, member.first, and you see we have added this membership. So now I am a member of this tenant. And let's see, can I access another tenant? Let's go to tenant/1. You see I can still access this tenant show page, but I don't see it in the index page. So I shouldn't have access to this tenant at all, because I'm not a member of this tenant. How can we do it? Let's go to our tenants controller, and let's say return redirect to root path, alert you are not a member, and we will do it if the tenant, so unless tenant dot users dot include current user. Let's see if it works. So yeah, you see I'm not a member, I was redirected to the main page. I'll go to the tenant that I am a member of, and I can see it. And we will add this as a before action to all the places where we need a current tenant. So I will say before action authorize member, and I will apply it to the same actions. And let's add this private action, private method, and move it there. So authorize member, and let's see, can I go to tenants 1/edit? No, I cannot, but I can go to tenants 2/edit because I am a member of this tenant. Okay, looks good. Let's save our changes. So yeah, we've done only changes in the tenants controller. We made it so that when we create a tenant, the creator becomes an admin of this tenant, and we've also made it so that only tenant members can view tenant pages. So git add all, git commit, tenant creator becomes admin member and authorization, member authorization. Okay, what is next? Now we want to be able to invite other users to become members of our application, and for this we are going to use devise invitable, because if a user, if we, let's say, have this kind of form where we input a user's email, we wish to be able to actually create a user in our application and send him an invitation link to become a member of our application, and also make him a member of this tenant. So we are going to install the gem devise invitable, and let's see how it is done. So I will say bundle add devise invitable, install, add it to the user model, run the migrations, and that's about it. Let's see, user.rb, we've got devise invitable, and devise.rb, we have added the invitable here, and in our user model we have added the invitation attributes. Okay, let's save this and move forward. So git status, git add all, git commit main message, install devise invitable. And now let's actually create a form where we can input a user's email to be able to make him a member. But first we would need to have like a list of all members of it inside the tenant. So let's say we will open a tenant. Okay, we have this error. I think I just need to restart the server. Okay, yeah. And let's within a tenant have a link to the members. So tenant show, and here I will have a link to members. And members should be scoped under the tenant, so it would be something like tenant members path. Let's go to our roots and input the members under the resources tenants. Okay, let's go to our show view, and here we'll have add tenant. Let's see if this works. Yeah, we have a link to members, and here you see we have tenant/2/members, and inside members controller we don't have index action, so let's add it, def index, and here we will have add members equals current tenant dot members, and we need to set the current tenant somehow. So let's say private def set current tenant, and we will say add current tenant equals tenant dot find by params tenant ID, because you see we have this tenant ID in the root. So yeah, and we will add a before action set current tenant, and this should kind of work. I refresh. Okay, no index view, so let's go to views, members. Okay, I've already created a folder. Let's make it index.html.erb, and we have an empty view. Let's say add members dot each do member, and we will display the email. So let's say add member.user.email, and the roles at member.roles. Okay, yeah, we are displaying the members of this tenant. That's good. Let's actually save this change. So git status, git add all, git commit message, display tenant members. Okay, and now let's actually do this invitation thing. So let's add a form to invite a member. Let's maybe list all members, h1 members, and a separate thing for inviting members. So invite members, and I will have a form with URL. We'll input a URL here, do form, and here we'll have equals form.text field. We are going to input an email. Let's add a placeholder. And we will have a submit button, form.submit invite. And what will the URL be? Let's construct the URL. So for example, it can be resources members do post invite. And this is going to be inside collection do post invite. Okay, let's see this rule that we have just created. Let's say Rails rules grab invite. Yeah, Rails rules invite tenant members path. So let's go back here and it will be URL invite tenant members path. Let's see if it works for us. I will refresh, and here we have this form for inviting members. Let's see the URL. We have tenant/to members invite. Let's try clicking this invite and see what happens. So nothing happened because we don't have this action implemented, and we can see an error here. Action invite is not defined. So let's go to our members controller and say def invite, and here we can try getting the params, or let's say we'll just put a binding.p, and let's try clicking the invite. Let's put something in the email, and we are in the binding. So let's say params. We have tenant ID, we have email, so let's say we can work with this. So we will say email equals params email, and we are going to find a user by this email. User equals user.find by email, and if we don't find the user, here we are going to use devise invitable. So we're going to send invitation.invite. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to have this line. So user.invite by the email from the params and current user. And then we're going to say user.members.find or create by, and we will say tenant will be current tenant. And we will also set roles as, for example, admin false and editor true. Okay, let's see if this works. I will drop the binding, continue, and let's see. So I will go here, I will try to input some kind of email, click invite, and did anything happen? Yeah, we did send some kind of email, but did we make the user a member? Let's refresh. Yeah, the user has become a member. Okay, I need to refresh because I didn't make a redirect here. So I will say redirect to, what is the path? Tenant members path at current tenant with a notice member invited. Or let's actually put the email. So let's say email invited. Okay, let's try again. I will input some kind of other email address. And here we have email invited, and he has been added to this list. Okay, looks quite good. What if we have a look at some outliers? What if we submit an empty form? We will get some kind of error, most definitely. Record not saved, you can not call create unless the parent is saved. So let's actually add some validations. Let's say return redirect to tenant members path with an alert, no email provided, if email is blank, and we'll make another return here if the user is not valid. So user dot valid unless the user is valid. So we will put these guards to check if we have submitted an email and if the user with this email text is valid. Okay, let's see. I will try inputting an empty email. You see no email provided, something like this, and yeah, it would have to say, yeah, email invalid. So email invalid. Let's try once again. Okay, and this email is invalid. So our guard clauses work correctly. And yeah, that's it. We've managed to invite users to become members of this tenant. Let's save our changes. Let's say git status, git add all, git commit message invite users to be members of tenant. Okay, and now let's check some validations. Can I go to tenant/1/members? And yes, you see I can, but I'm not a member of the first tenant, so we would need to put a guard for this in our members control. You see we have this authorized member inside tenants. We would need something similar inside our members controller. But we would need this kind of set tenant and authorized member for all the controllers that belong to a tenant. So everything that's scoped to your organization. Here, like tasks or projects, or in Trello, like all the columns, cards, comments inside cards, everything would have to have authorized member and set current tenant. So we can not just duplicate this code. Instead, we will create another controller. Let's make it authorized controller.rb. I will say class authorized controller that inherits from application controller. And here I will put the line for set current tenant. I'll remove it from the members. I'll move these lines also to the authorized controller. I will also add the before action authorized member. So we will first set the tenant and then we'll authorize the member. Yeah, let's also change the order here so that it is hierarchical. And importantly, inside our members controller, now we are going to inherit not from our application controller, but from authorized controller. So all this code is going to be automatically included in members controller. Let's see if it works. I will go back to the application. I will refresh this page and undefined method users. Let's see. Yeah, because I should say current tenant. And yeah, I'm not a member of the tenant. So it kind of works. Now we've got this kind of additional authorization so that only members of the tenant can view like all the pages inside this tenant. And let's see how our application works. So let me create a new account. I've registered as a user. I can go to the list of tenants. I'm not a member of any tenants. I cannot visit any tenant because I'm not a member of any. I can create a new tenant. And yeah, I've created this tenant. I can go to the list of members and I can invite another user to be a member. If I invite an user that already exists in the application, he will be just added as a member of the tenant, as an editor, not as an admin. And if I invite somebody new, so I click invite, we're actually going to send an invitation email for a user to be notified that we have invited him to our application. Actually, as an additional step that you can do on your own, after inviting the user to become a member, you could also send an email that he has been added to this workspace. Yeah, something like this. It's something you can do on your own. And yeah, that's basically it. So if I log in as this user, I will be able to view this tenant. Let me try accepting the invitation. Yeah, I'm already signed in. Let me log out. I will accept the invitation, set a password, and go to tenants, and you see I have been invited to this tenant. So the same as Slack, as Trello, you have this kind of multi-tenancy architecture built, and yeah, here is a nice boilerplate based on which you can add any kinds of structures that belong to a tenant or like a workspace, but not to a user. So this is how you build in themes into a Ruby on Rails application from the very beginning. And if you want to add any additional tables, again, tasks or projects, everything with this kind of root-based setting of the tenant would have to be scoped under resources tenants. And I think it's very comfortable because this way, if you have the current tenant set in the root, as Basecamp does, you can have a few different tenants open in different tabs. So other approaches, like a popular approach for access tenant, would be to set tenant ID in the current user, and user would have to switch tenants. But if you set the tenant in the roots, then you can have like tenant 3 open. You could create a new tenant and have tenant 4 open. So I have tenant 4 here, tenant 3 here, and it works in different browser tabs, and you don't have to like have a separate button to switch tenants. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for being with me, and thanks for creating this multi-tenancy application together with me. See you in the next one.